and welcome to UC Today. My name's David Dungay. Today we are back for another scintillating conversation. We're going to be talking about UCaaS and CCaaS and the buying preferences of end users today. But let's do some introductions before we get into that conversation. I have with me Benny and Giddy from AudioCodes. Guys, should we do a round of introductions before we get into the main topic today? Benny, do you want to start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and the business.
Sure, no problem. So my name is Benny Matitiao. I'm a VP UCC at AudioCodes. I've been with AudioCodes I think 17 years now. And I'm focusing really on our go-to-market activities around unified communication, especially around Microsoft. Maybe a few words on AudioCodes itself. AudioCodes has been in the market 30 years. Where AudioCodes is focusing on the voice environment and the voice communications. We've been doing, we've started with chips and modules and all of that years ago. Today, AudioCodes is actually doing more and more around software and software as a service, applications, and services for our customers and partners. We're selling in more than 100 countries. We have more than 1,000 employees, and we're selling to the top, end customer. If you look at the Fortune 500, we're selling to those top customers. A lot of them are buying our equipment and solutions. And, for the top service providers, you find a lot of our solutions also in their networks.
Great, thank you. And Giddy.
Yeah, hi David. Great to be here again. Thanks for having us. So I'm Giddy Adelsberg. I manage the VOCA Conversational Interaction Center solution for AudioCodes. Basically, our team's a Microsoft certified contact center for Microsoft Teams.
Great. Well, let's dive straight into that first question then today. We've been seeing this trend for a while now of UCaaS and CCaaS being purchased together. But I guess I want to ask, why are we seeing customers purchasing these two technologies together? But more importantly, as part of a consolidated sort of platform, an all-in-one kind of encompassing solution. Giddy, do you want to kick us off on that?
Yeah, sure, David. Actually, it's my favorite topic, and something we've been talking about here at AudioCodes for a good 2-3 years by now. Basically, the idea is very simple. In the past, we used to have kind of two separate communication islands, right? One was a phone system that's dedicated for internal comms and employees, and then another one that's a contact center platform, really. That was just for the classic agents. And that meant that, every employee in the company that wanted access to customer experience technologies had to be part of the contact center platform, which was rather siloed, right, from the rest of the organization. So agents were traditionally kind of a side play, if you will, to the rest of the company, whereas, kind of the magic that happens when we consolidate something like Microsoft Teams and Contact Center is not only that, from an infrastructure standpoint, are we basing all of our comms, whether it's internal or customer facing, on one single platform. It's also about giving contact center capabilities or customer experience capabilities to every employee in the company. Our favorite way of saying that, every Teams user essentially becomes a potential agent, okay, when we consolidate between something like Teams and a contact center solution.
So, we see so many offerings on the market right now. In fact, we were at an event last week and AudioCodes were there as well. When I looked around the room, end users have a lot of choice. With all of this choice in the market, what are those big challenges for buying these two technologies, UCaaS and CCaaS, together? Maybe Benny, you want to start us off on that one?
Sure, thanks, David. So, if you look at a company that is migrating to a UCaaS and CCaaS solution, or especially for Teams, let's say, and if you look at how they approach that, the main challenges are related to several issues. So, first of all, they need to decide how to connect, Teams and connect that to the PSTN, and this is something that is repeating. Now, although a lot of companies see that as a commodity, okay, we use a direct routing SBC and we do that, or we connect with Operator Connect, what you find in many cases is that there's a lot of issues that are still in the business that you need to address. Those relates to legacy equipment, for example. If you have an intercom, you have a fax machine, it's always forgotten. The simplex solution will solve it, but now even in an SMB where you have an intercom, how you solve it, that's a question. So that solution is needed, or you need a solution for these scenarios as well. On the larger organization, you find organizations that have a lot of time, multiple branches, sometimes even international branches. How you connect all of that? How you create the entire unified communication experience for this kind of a large organization? That is a challenge. Usually you have a lot of legacy systems, different connectivity solutions in each country, for example, and how you convert all of that and all the various voice applications they have on that network into a unified communication solution that provides, a harmonic, I would say, kind of a solution for all the employees. So Microsoft Teams provide a very good UC solution, brilliant collaboration capabilities, calling and video and all of that. But still, the migration that is not simple, and this part of the unified communication. Just how we make a unified communication. This is a big challenge by itself to start with.
And Giddy, maybe you can talk to the sort of the CCaaS side of those challenges.
Yeah, sure, David. So as you mentioned, both of us were at Comsverse, right? I spoke with a whole bunch of people. We talked about the fact that we saw at least 6 or 7 different contact center players on the floor, right? And how does a customer in 2024 differentiates between all these contact center solutions that supposedly all look the same? So one of my favorite topics that I talk about recently is about features versus experience, right? So the simple way of putting it is, if you took all those 6 and 7 players on the floor from last week, or even if you took all the 30 contact center players that are Microsoft certified for Teams, and you put them all on a feature table, it will be very hard to find any differences between one to the other when it comes to features. So for us, it's less about the actual features, but it's more about the experience around it. How do you deliver a feature, okay? So we like to talk about things like the dimension of reliability and uptime, a good working commercial model, the robustness of the platform, and so on. Different aspects of a solution that are not things that you would necessarily see on like a feature table, right, or a feature list, but definitely make a crucial part of the overall satisfaction of the solution. So as a customer that's out there to choose what's the right contact center solution for you, you really want to address those things that are beyond just features, and I'm sure we will address them also in this talk as we move on. So
absolutely, I mean, customer satisfaction, I guess, is the name of the game for a lot of this industry. But I mean, maybe we could outline that opportunity a little bit more there, Giddy. In terms of use cases for customers, really looking to bring a UCaaS and CCaaS together in a Teams environment specifically. Let's stick with the Teams environment as that's what we're here to discuss.
Yeah. So again, when we started talking about the idea of the convergence between UC and contact center, we talked about making every Teams user a potential agent. Let's talk about that for a second and understand what that means. So typically, let's say, David, that you come to the average, security team, sales team, HR department, legal department. You would ask the legal department, hey, do you need contact center? They'd be like, no, I'm not an agent. Why would I need a contact center solution? But let me say that if you ask them, hey, legal team, do you need a better way of handling an inquiry that comes in after hours? Do you need a better way to bring a call to the right person in your department? Could you use some automation to deflect calls from your department? Can your sales team benefit from some basic reporting and analytics, okay, about interactions that are coming into the sales team? The answer is going to be yes all day long, okay? So we put a lot of emphasis in VOCA, but not only, I mean, the entire industry when it comes to a Teams contact center, we put a lot of emphasis on what we like to call employees beyond the contact center. People that need contact center capabilities, but just don't necessarily know that it's called contact center, but can definitely benefit from those, kind of customer experience use cases, provide a better employee experience or customer experience by using these tools.
We've seen over the last couple of months, a lot of new features coming out from Microsoft, as always happens with Microsoft, obviously, but particularly around the CX side of that. We've seen Microsoft Queues, among others. How are these new offerings? How do they really complement this UCaaS and CCaaS convergence trend? Giddy, maybe you want to talk to that.
Sure. So, David, actually, even before Microsoft, we've seen many vendors already, going about that trend, right? I mean, Zoom obviously have a combined offering of UC and contact center, Ring Central, 8x8. We even saw Nice, right? Just 3 weeks ago, Nice, a pure contact center player, announcing their own UCaaS solution. So it's not only UC players that make their way into the contact center space, it's also vice versa. We see contact center players making their way into the UC space. So definitely very kind of busy times when we talk about that convergence. Now, if we zoom in on Microsoft is definitely not going to miss out on that party, if you will, right? So when we zoom in at Microsoft, we see the Microsoft kind of answer to this trend coming from both the low end and the premium end of the market. So at the lower end, we are seeing the Queues app, something that was announced back in Enterprise Connect of this year. Definitely an application that kind of is an upgrade, if you will, to the Teams auto attendant, the Teams call queues, and so on. So even more functionality when it comes to call routing, queuing, reporting, and so on. However, the interesting thing with the Queues app is, when we look at the Microsoft announcements around it and content around it, one thing you're not going to find there, David, is the conjunction of the words contact center. And when we ask Microsoft, okay, so what is the play there? What we understand is that, you have those enterprises, Benny referred to those enterprises, that come from legacy phone systems with thousands of IVRs, hundreds of call queues. And when they move to Teams Phone, they want to know that the Teams has those, basic functionalities that can complete, if you will, the Teams feature set. Okay, so in that sense, it's more of a migration and a completeness of Teams Phone play rather than a true contact center play of the Queues app. Then, if we look at the premium side of that offering, of the Microsoft offering in CX, and that's of course the Dynamics contact center, which there's a lot of buzz around lately. Here we are really talking about Microsoft, coming side by side with the big guys on the block, right? Aside to players like Five9, Nice, and Genesys. So it's really interesting to see Microsoft entering that space, making its first steps in the premium CX area. Definitely a very, so Dynamics, very modular solution, quite hefty implementation, integration work that needs to be done around it to get it up to work. And also coming with a pretty hefty price tag. So that's definitely more for the kind of thousands of agents, kind of deployment that it's fitting for. So if I'm to summarize the Microsoft play here, we have the Queues app that is really there for the very basic scenarios. Then we have the Dynamics, which is more for the very complex scenarios. Everything that's in between kind of stays for us, partners to fill in the gap and to come with good offerings that, hopefully integrate with Teams in the best way possible, and complete the enterprise offering around a customer experience and contact center.
Well, that's a good segue into the next question then. Let's talk about filling those gaps around the edges and bringing that value to customers. How has AudioCodes really positioned themselves to address this kind of trend? And Benny, maybe you want to chime in on that one.
Sure, thanks. So if I look at AudioCodes, we've been on the journey with Microsoft for almost 2 decades. Starting with OCS and LCS and Link and Sky for Business. We've been there all the path. Throughout those years, we actually developed a lot of products and solutions in that environment. And actually, I think we have the widest portfolio of solutions around Team today in the market. If you look at the connectivity and phones and MTRs and management pieces, a lot of components that we have as a company developed, throughout the years. Not only that, AudioCode has a very strong arm of professional services that we can support, and help our customers and partners with helping them, to actually deploy the solution or deploy our solution, and generally support them and their customers with the journey to Teams. So this is a really strong arm. What we did in the last years, I would say, is that we've taken all of this technology and all of our capabilities and built a platform. So that platform is today the only platform that a vendor can provide, that is providing Teams calling and contact center solution on a single platform, I would say. And this platform provides like a 360% degrees kind of a solution. It provides the calling experience, complete one. It's providing the contact center, as Gidi mentioned. It provides additional applications like recording, like meeting productivity. We can provide devices as a service on that platform. We have a very strong management, multi-tier, multi-tenant kind of management solution that is part of this platform. So when we go to the market and add to that our strong professional services arm, this is a solution that is really hard to compete with. I mean, we can provide a solution that helps a customer do the migration, and we're kind of doing A to Z for them in terms of how they deploy Teams calling and contact center and all the things around them.
Let's bring some of this to life then. We're almost at the end of the session, but let's maybe leave our audience with some sort of real world examples. Gidi, maybe you could share some kind of examples where AudioCodes is really making this all happen for customers here and now.
Sure, David. So, I mean, we have a bunch of case studies out there, right? I prefer to just focus on one example. Benny was talking about that completeness aspect of our live platform, right? So, again, Teams calling, contact center, meeting room devices, phones, recording, you name it. We got it all. So, one of my favorite examples, and I don't think we talk about it enough, is a Fortune 500 plastic manufacturer called Berry Global. What's cool about Berry Global is that they really use our portfolio to its full extent. Okay, so all of the elements that I just mentioned are in use by Berry Global. 46,000 employees worldwide. They're headquartered in the States, but they have employees in Europe, they have employees in APAC and so on. What's interesting there is, Berry Global have been using a different contact center solution in the past. When we came out to the market with Voca, they recognized a lot of values in our solution. Of course, the built-in conversational AI was an important factor for them, but even more than that was the dimension of reliability that we bring. Okay, thanks to our form of integration with Teams that is really Azure native. We are integrating with Teams based on Azure Communication Services. To whoever is listening to this session, strongly encouraged to learn about Microsoft IC3, which is the kind of the fundamental voice and video layer for Microsoft Teams. Voca is using an SDK that gives an immediate access to IC3. So every call on Voca is really a pure Teams call. So for Berry Global, the business outcome is that they get a contact center solution that essentially never goes down. Okay, or a geo-redundant solution that serves their US sites, Europe sites, APAC sites all at once, connected to their single Teams tenant, of course, with all the AI benefits that come with it, with a usage-based commercial model. So for me, and again, like I said, they are also using our recording solution, our SBCs. They are even our first customer that uses the new Voca omni-channel capabilities in production as well. So for me, it's a really flagship example of, a Fortune 500 enterprise that is really using the AudioCodes Live platform to its full extent, end to end. So I love this one.
Fantastic. So, gentlemen, unfortunately, that is all we have time for. But I'd just like to say thank you so much for joining me and sharing some of your insights.
Sure. Thanks for having us, David. A pleasure
Thank you,
as
David.
always.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you for watching. You've been watching me, David Dungay, on UC Today. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please give us a like and a share on social media. That's it from me. See you next time.